Alright, so today we'll be changing the hinges out for the back glass, for liftgate glass. And the reason why is because the actual hinge corrodes on the bottom side here, and it leaves this streak of mineral deposits from the actual corrosion when it comes off of there, and it just makes your car look horrible. The actual hinges usually aren't too bad looking, but I just noticed on mine that there is an actual bubble starting here, so good thing I did get the hinges. And the reason I got them for is because of the actual deposits. You go to wash your car, whatever, and this just comes down, it leaves a trail, and it looks horrible. And they're easy to change out. They're a little pricey. I think they're around $70 my cost, maybe closer to 90 something your cost retail. And this one over here, I actually started scraping up all the excessive corrosion that has dripped down and has stuck to the glass like the other side. And the best way to get that off is with an actual razor blade. Now the reason we take this corrosion off here now is because before taking these off, once we try to remove them, before we take them off, we're going to be marking their position on here on the glass with a paint pen, so we can reference putting a new one on so we don't get the glass cocked in here. And we got to get this cleaned up now so we can put a accurate marking on there. And the razor blade, you'll feel it's like crunchy almost, and it just stuck to there. And some are worse than others. This other side I did earlier today, and it was pretty darn bad. And I got the corrosion out of there, off the glass. And at this point we're going to do a thorough cleaning around the hinge, top and bottom. Glass cleaner is just fine, and then we can go to installing them. And there won't be no debris caught under the glass hinge where it meshes with the glass. So you start pinching little rocks and debris in here, you have a chance of shattering the glass. We don't want to do that. So we're going to do a nice thorough cleaning and have a nice clean work environment. Alright, so here's the new ones, and they are different left and right hand sides. Very important because they do have a slight angle to them. You may not even be able to tell it. But they are marked. You can see right there it says left hand. If you can focus. Yep, there it is. So it's stamped into there, and then the actual plastic spacer is stamped also. That matches it. And they come with new beauty bolts, they call them. So those might be corroding a little bit on you. So these are definitely going to be new also, so it all look nice and new. And then there's thread locker on the threads are ready for you, but you need to transfer the old nut to this stud. One thing I do on these is I paint the inside here with the anti-corrosion paint. And all the little crevices inside here. The outside paint is usually good and sufficient, baked on, great from the factory. But inside of here, they kind of, it's like an overcoat spray, like an overspray is about the best it gets inside there, you can see, on the stock one. So I paint all the exposed aluminum inside of here, the alloy, whatever it is, and make sure that it's fully sealed up. I usually put at least 2 coats on there, and make sure that this is not going to corrode on me in the future. When I just put new ones on, because they are kind of expensive. And the stuff I use, in case you're wondering, is the Motorcraft anti-corrosion coating that they had. They came out with it for the 7.3s on the oil pans, for the rust in the oil pans. They had a coating to put on there. Once you clean the most of the rust off of there, they wanted you to put this on there. And we were using it for a bunch of recent recalls also. So it's really good stuff, and it'll do the job, I'm sure. Okay, once you pop your glass, where the actual lift strut attaches to the glass right here in the bracket, we just need to pop it off of there, and you stick something pointy in here, like a pick like I have, and then you pull back on that collar right there, and once that's back there, off of there like that, the whole thing will pop right off. Okay, so once you go to take this off of here, the glass will come down, so you need to support the glass while you're popping this off here. It's not too heavy, but you just need to realize it. And you just need to pull it back far enough like that, like I showed up close a minute ago, and then it'll pull off. And do the same thing with this side over here, and you can use your head for a support if you want to. Like I said, it's not that heavy. And we can just toss these inside the car for now. And then repeat on the other side. And then after that, from a decent height, not too high, not too low, latch it so it latches all the way. Like so. And make sure it's fully latched, and then we can start loosening and replacing these hinges one at a time. Alright, so before going any further, I like to actually mark the old hinge to the glass. It's not totally necessary on an Escape, it's more necessary on an Explorer, which I'm used to because those had a lot of problems with the hinges breaking. But I do it as a reference. So when you put the new hinge back on, we can get that perfect gap all the way around, just like the factory was. And we'll know also before we tighten down that we're in the right place. And then our glass will, it'll latch down each time just fine and not be banging and making all kinds of noise every time you close the glass. So it'll all be lined up just perfectly if we follow these marks. After that, just open your liftgate, let it go all the way up, and we're going to start taking apart the hinge here. There's a bolt here, that's a T30, and then there's a little body plug right here, and there's one nut inside of there, and that should be a 11mm. And that's the same thing on this side. Bolt and this actual plug for the harness here. It's a little bit harder to get off. Yes, my dog chewed the heck out of my harness, but it still works. I need to fix that. Yeah, it says pull this one out too, and then we're going to do one side at a time. We'll do the easy side first. Make sure it's all lined up. Make sure the glass still latches properly. No weird sounds, and the gap all the way around is proper. And then we can torque it down, and then we can go into the other side and finish up. Alright, so hopefully you can see this. Basically, I'm just going to pull the star bit bolt right here, which is a T30. I'm going to do that first, and then we'll start loosening this down here, because this one can get pretty corroded, and it'll start tweaking the whole thing, putting stress on the glass. Whereas this right here will still hold it while we're getting this thing loosened. And in case you have them, don't use air tools or electric power tools at all. These threads are only so long, and you're taking a chance of breaking that glass. It's just not worth it. Get this old one out, and it's pretty corroded. And then we'll pull the other one out right here, the nut, and the nut we need to reuse, so don't forget it. Then just watch it when you pull this nut off of here, because you might lose it in this channel right here. And then you simply slide the old hinge off of here, and we'll see if we can see it here. There's one heck of a reflection in there, huh? Let's see. Yeah. Let's see if we can focus on that. Yeah, so you can see how bad the corrosion gets in here and all the garbage. I mean, that's a lot right there. I mean, it's just packed in there. The rest of this doesn't look too bad, but all the water, of course, drips down to this point. This is the lowest point, and yeah, it's bad. So you can see it's just a never-ending drip off of there onto your glass, staining it. It's not worth it. Now, what can also happen to these is the actual hinge right here can break on them, although I haven't seen it as often. But it's definitely possible. But the glass on here is a lot, lighter than the Explorer's, so it doesn't happen that often. But it's something to think about too. I've seen it before. Okay, so before we even think about putting that new one on, you get all this off of here, all this corrosion and garbage, the through part of the glass, and then of course on the on this side of the glass, you want to get all that grit and corrosion off of there before we ever put the new one on, because it can definitely compress and it'll break the glass. And another thing to note is that when you're doing this, hinges and glass and all that, it's best to be in a cool shaded area. More often than not, the glass breaks when it's hot or quite warm, even compared to cold from winter or something like that, depending what time of year you're actually changing them out. But hot glass breaks really easy, so bring it inside and let it get to a room temperature, in the shade of a garage or something like that, and let it cool down before you start clamping this down. Alright, we got our glass nice and clean, so we can go ahead and put our new hinge in here. And it should basically slide into place. It's got a nice big old cushiony foam on there. And this lamp, your little nub sticking out of here. This one right here, through the glass, before you start tightening it down. And mine just fell into place. So we kind of make sure it stays in place, and we start hand tightening those bolts and nuts on there so they all come out of alignment. And we can see all the way around we've kept our alignment of the glass, so we should be just fine, and we'll torque it down and it should have no problems if you follow this method. Okay, you should be able to see this. Just reach around with your other hand and put pressure on it. Make sure you're centered in the glass right there. You should, without having to adjust it really that much. And then we can start putting this bolt in here and threading it in by hand and making sure that thread's in by hand. Because the torque spec on here is very critical, so we don't want no cross threading, no craziness like that. And you should be able to get this snug while pushing down on it on the back side here, so we don't lose that centering in the hole. And you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. And then put that nut back onto there. And the threads, like I said, already have Loctite on them from the factory. So we just need to get this going too. We'll tighten this down by hand. And yours probably has witness marks on the inside of the glass, or the body inside here, where it wore away the paint. So you can line up your bolt or your nut to the body witness marks very easily, and you'll also know you're lined up. And I did all that by hand. Only thing that's really stopping is the Loctite on there. And then we'll do this one by hand also. Just go back and forth. And then we'll do a final torque here in a second. Alright, and the torque spec on these is actually 97 inch-pounds for both the nut and the bolt. And this is one of those times you really want to have a good, accurate torque wrench. And you want to use a torque wrench. If you don't own one, you can rent one somewhere, buddy, something like that, and get this right. So I'm going to do this one first. The actual torque sequence, I guess you could call it, doesn't matter on here, because they're both already snugged up by hand, and we're just finishing it off. And I recheck them like that, and then I'll go back to the glass, and I'll recheck that one. And of course it's just fine. At that point, we're good to go. We can start putting these body plugs back in, and we can bring the liftgate down. And we can check the alignment with the paint marks, and we can also check the operation of the actual glass before we go on to the other side here. Okay, so you can view all the way around. You can see that where it contacts is right there. And I don't know if it's me or it's new or what, but these new ones, they do look beefier than the old ones. It's hard to tell when they're right next to them, but they do look beefier. So we got our sticker off of there so we can open it freely. We'll see if it shatters on us. I like to work them up and down a little bit, and then about right here. Boom, no problems. When you pop it, it also pops and comes off the latch without binding or any other weird noises, stuff like that. So that's a perfect install right there, as close as you can get it. And we can see the gap all the way around is really nice. Same as the other side, so it's gonna line up nicely for us. Now on the right side has the big old harness coming through. Don't just go grabbing this thing and trying to yank it out of there. You're gonna break it all up in here. There's a tab here and there. You just kind of grab it, pull it back a little bit, and you just peel this off like a skin, and you get it off of there, and you'll have access to your nut there, no problem then. Okay, so here's the finished product, and you can see it looks a lot better already. And what many people don't realize is that this is an item on the car that should be waxed to keep it from oxidizing mainly. These don't have fancy clear coats on them like the rest of the paint does, and the sun will really attack these fairly quickly. So I make sure I wax these and my wiper arms, actually, believe it or not. The ones up front that are metal and coated just like this. And it makes them look nice for a long time. So right now these are new. It's a good time to do it.